Thank you for joining us at the California STEAM Symposium. It is my pleasure to welcome you to The Future of the Web is Yours to Create, Engaging Students as Designers and Creators of the Web. With our lead presenter, Saskia Leggett. And if you have any questions, we welcome for you to share them into the chat. We'll try to get to as many as possible. You can use the raise hand feature. Make sure when you're called on, just to unmute and put yourself on video if you're so inclined. And we want to thank all of our sponsors for supporting this year's symposium, especially our presenting sponsor, Chevron. And you can learn more about those folks in our sponsors tab on the platform. And at the end, I'll put a survey link in. It helps get us a better symposium year over year. And of course, there's prizes also, so a little incentive there. And now it was my honor to turn it over to our presenter, Saskia. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. Awesome. It's so great to be here. We're a small group today, so if you all feel like using your mics or chiming in that way, if it's Saturday and you're doing your thing, no worries. But I'm excited to be here with you. So I'm Saskia. I am the education programs lead at Wix Education, and I'll tell you all about what that means and what we are in a moment. I'm a former middle school technology teacher, worked with Scratch and the Scratch Foundation for a long time. I'm really excited to be in this space to bring that creative learning with technology spirit into the web. And my main role at Wix is designing our learning experiences, but I also support and connect our amazing community of educators. So really excited to be with you here today. So to kick us off, most folks, we had two folks say hello in the chat. But I would love for you, if you haven't said hello, to say hi in the chat and think about what's something that brought you joy this week. I was really inspired by yesterday's keynote that had a really wonderful focus on joy. So I switched this icebreaker to be something that brought you joy this week. So I figured that we could start with a moment of joy. So I will let everyone take a second to navigate over to the chat and say hello and think about your joyful moment. Hi, Valerie. I have a 8-month-old puppy, who's amazingly asleep during this time, which usually he isn't. And I had a puppy play date yesterday, and that brought me some joy. So I'd love to hear about what brought you joy this week. Yes, Kate's hand tap class. That was incredible. That was really cool. Thanks, Gabriella. I'd love to hear maybe one or two more. We got some folks. Hi, Wendy. Sorry, I'm stalking the chat. Oh, amazing, Carol. My partner surprised me with flowers after work yesterday. That's beautiful. I'm going to screenshot that and send that to my partner. Maybe take one more and then we'll keep going forward. Kate brought me joy. Kate brought me joy too. Oh, that's amazing, Devin. Spending time with a good friend. Awesome. So if you have more ideas, keep them going in the chat. But for time's sake, I'm going to move on. Just a quick note, especially since we're a smaller group, I would really love for you to think about yourselves as our co-facilitators. So if you have ideas, again, if you want to unmute yourself or turn on your video, you're welcome to do so. This is a lot of me talking, which is not my favorite thing. So I'd love for if you wanted to join me too, that would be amazing. Yes, Valerie, I agree with that one. All right, so we've got 40 minutes together. This is going to be in three parts. The first part is setting the scene. So we'll talk a little bit about what web creation is, how it situates itself into STEAM education. And then we'll go into part two, the actual details of how you can engage students as designers and creators of the web. And then the logistics of how you can bring all of this into your classroom. And so that is how we will be spending our time. But before we do anything, I wanted to start on a joyful and a playful note. So we're going to do an activity from one of our curriculums that's called Website Bingo. So this might not make sense if you're unfamiliar with Wix Education or if you're new to the web space, but we're just going to roll with this playful moment and then everything will become more clear when I explain what we are and what we do. But let's start here. So the way this works is this is a site that I'm going to drop into the chat. So let me exit here and I'm going to double click this and drop it into the chat. This should bring up a bingo site. So it's like a bingo board that every time you click it, it refreshes into something new. So if I refresh, then all of these little bingo things will change. And so I am going to explore a website live, and then each of you will have your own bingo board. So click on that link to get the bingo board. And as we're exploring, check out your bingo board and see if you can see any of these things in the website. So is your website colorful? Is there a welcome message? Is there a members login? And if there is, then you get bingo because it's 3 in a row. I would love to be able to like send things to you, but we're in a virtual space. So if you win bingo, then that's amazing. And that's it. All right, so we're gonna play bingo. So everyone go ahead and click on that link in the chat. Yeah, Carol, definitely. I'll show you how to use this in class. This is an activity made for students, but I like using it for adults too. So that should bring up your bingo board. And then what I'm going to do is select a site, and we're going to, which I actually think I already have up here, and we're going to check this site out together. So this is one of my favorite sites that was made with Wix. The site is called Izzy Wheels. So I'm going to just slowly scroll through this. And if you're on one screen, you might have to toggle between 2 tabs to get to your bingo board and to check out my screen, or you can, squish it so you can see both on the same side. But when you get bingo, just let me know in the chat. All right, so I'm just going to tour through this site. So I'm seeing a menu on top. I'm seeing a logo. This is colorful. My immediate CTA call to action is shop now. I'm seeing some products. And if you, well, we're navigating this together, but this is a site made by this incredible woman named Izzy, who makes wheelchair covers for first her wheelchair, and then she makes collections that others can put on their wheelchair as well. But what I really love about the site is that it doesn't just sell her product, but it really tells her story. It's colorful, it's playful, it shows who she is, and really has her personality come to life in all of the choices. So this is her and her sister. They co-created this company together. So as I'm scrolling, perhaps you're seeing some images, perhaps you're seeing some social media, a footer with information, an about page. Has anyone gotten bingo so far? All right, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Oh, Carol got bingo. All right, Carol, amazing. Can you tell me the 3 things that got you bingo?
I got the horizontal menu, subscribe, where there was and then testimonials.
Perfect. All right, that was awesome. Thank you, Carol. If you didn't get bingo, don't worry, it's okay. We're going to do one more and then we'll get into the presentation. So this next site, I was really delighted on Wednesday to find out that Dr. Moo's site was also a Wix site. So I threw this in here as well. So if you were around for there we go. If you were around for the keynote on Wednesday, which is incredible with Dr. Moo, this is her website. And so I'm going to slowly scroll through this one. If you were in class, you can also send this site in the chat or to your students so they can look on their own computer. So I'll do that here too. But go ahead and refresh your bingo board. So if you just hit refresh, it should bring up a new one. And let's see if anyone else gets bingo for this. So I'm seeing another horizontal menu bar here. I'm seeing a really quick about. I'm seeing some social media buttons. This is kind of using like a green color scheme. So I wouldn't necessarily call it colorful, but there are a lot of colors showing up. We've got events. Oh, I'm hearing someone maybe unmute. Did anyone get bingo?
No, I'm having a hard time finding my bingo board.
Oh no, okay. Let me put that back into the chat. It is.
No, I pulled it up.
Oops.
And then when I went back to looking at what you were showing, I couldn't get back to my bingo board.
Oh no. All right. Well, the link is in the chat again. So if you click that, then you can head back to the bingo board. So that
Okay,
should
back
bring you
there.
back there.
But I
Perfect.
can't see both. I can't see both. So I don't know how to toggle between the two. That's my problem.
Oh, got it. Okay. So for me, what I usually do is I either like fit both windows on the screen, or I'll just like do this on I'm on Chrome, so I've got my two tabs. But if that's not working out for you today, it's okay. You can
I at least wanted to
just,
see how it worked.
okay, yeah.
I can also suggest maybe doing Alt Tab or Command
Mhm.
Tab. That sometimes can get you back and
Perfect.
forth between windows.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick scroll, but we won't spend too much time on this. So we've got, let's see, an Instagram account, we've got events, we have photos, we have a contact form, we have a really small footer that comes up on the bottom. Has anyone gotten bingo yet so far? This is a split screen. No bingo so far. That's okay. If we don't get bingo this round, then we can just keep going. All right. I'll give everyone maybe another 30 seconds. If you don't know what all the things in the bingo board, that's okay. I just threw a bingo board at you without giving it a lesson. So that's okay. All right, so it looks like we might not get bingo this round. That's okay, we can't win them all. What I would love to do is pivot back to our presentation, and we can just keep going. But if you have any questions, if you were like, I really want to know what like a asymmetrical layout is, we can answer that too. So bingo is one of our activities in Wix Education. That's part of our web creation curriculum, that is where students are learning about the ins and outs of making a website, what all those components are. Maybe there's some vocabulary that was new to you, so that they can start making and crafting their own websites. So hopefully that was just like a little playful moment. If you didn't get bingo and you're frustrated, it's okay. We're going to keep going. And I promise you there'll be some really beautiful examples for us to check out moving forward. So if you are new to Wix, let's start there. Wix is a professional website building platform with about 250 million users worldwide that adults are using to bring their ideas to life online. So it's a drag and drop platform. So you can create a website by just dragging and dropping the elements that you would like your website to have. And then Wix Education, which is the team that I work on, is a small and mighty team that's working to bring the power of Wix to upper, middle, and high school classrooms for free. So our platform has a classroom management component, so you can see the sites that your students are creating. And we also have a really wonderful set of courses and curriculum for students to explore all components of web design, web creation, and development. And everything in our platform, the site students create, the courses are all free. So I wanted to kick us off with this question. What role does web creation play in STEAM education? Because I'm in these spaces a lot. And to me, we always talk about the T for technology, but there's other components that come up too. So I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts, and you can use the chat or unmute your mic. What role might web creation play in STEAM education? Or maybe why are you here in this session?
Okay, I'd like to make a comment. I'm here from a nonprofit organization, so I'm not in the school. So the question is, you said the courses are free.
Yes.
I assume that's for schools. Would it
That's
also be
for
free?
any learning environment. So if you're working in an informal or library or nonprofit, that would apply to you too.
Okay, sounds good.
Good, awesome. Any other thoughts on what role does web creation play in STEAM education? Or can it play? Art, yeah, so the A, obviously there's a huge connection to design here. So students are thinking about the graphic design components of putting their site together. They're thinking about colors, typography, layout. So really thinking about that artistic spatial awareness. Any other thoughts? Oh, Wendy, this is great. Career pathways. So thinking about maybe CTE connections if students are interested in going into the web creation or web design space. These are, professional roles that adults have as well. And then Gabrielle is hitting on a point that I really wanted to make. It's a creative way to share student projects. So when students maybe are in your science class or in a math class and have a project, instead of just creating a PowerPoint, they can pull it onto a website and get more of that technological fluency while they're sharing their ideas. So there's many different ways to, I think, approach this question, and I just wanted to explore a few. One of them is what I just said. So fluency with technological tools and even computational thinking that can serve our students no matter their chosen pathway. Websites are something that are really versatile. I have a portfolio website. Another person might have a website to create information about a cause that they care about. And along the way, we're learning how to manage with these technological tools, which of course are in every part of our aspect of this modern society. We also have a web development course, which dives really into the computational thinking part of putting a website together. So moving beyond those drag and drop tools and thinking programmatically, systematically, computationally to put a website together. And Gabriella made this point, an opportunity to express creativity and identity, to tell their stories, explore their interests. So a big part of STEM is thinking about who you are and what you care about. And websites are a way for students to have who they are show up in every aspect of what they create. One that I really love is engaging with inquiry, reflection, and critical thinking. So using websites as a way to reflect on your learning process, to think about a project that you did, to document, to really go back and have that metacognitive moment in learning. And then the last few points, a venue for sharing and reflecting on knowledge across topics and subjects. So you can use this really in any learning environment, but I really love seeing websites in STEAM contexts. And the last thing is practice for being online. So our ultimate goal here is to have our students be creators, not consumers of the world around them. And creating a site helps them practice what it means to be an inclusive designer, to be a responsible creator, and to create products and projects that are equitable, that everyone can access, which I think today's keynote really highlighted well. And I think the ultimate thing here to really hit home is the creativity. So we can really have our students take their creativity to the next level with the kinds of things that they can create with their websites. So that brings us into part two. How do we do this? So what does it look like to engage our students as designers and creators? So I would love to take this moment to talk a little bit about Wix Education. Wix Education, again, is a platform and online suite of resources. We have 4 courses that we've created to guide your students through this process. The first course is this Intro to Wix in the Web course, which is really just the foundations of putting a website together. We have a web creation course that's where that bingo activity came from. So that's really getting into the details of what it means to create a website for someone else. So thinking about the users of your website, putting together a sitemap, thinking about the content, making it engaging and immersive. We have a web design course that's all about the visual aspects of putting a site together. So this is thinking a little bit more deeply about things like color, typography, layout, inclusive design. And then we just launched this summer a web development course, which allows your students to take their sites to the next level with code. So they can create custom interactions, make more immersive environments, basically just like further customize their site to really make it their own and make their identity shine. And I said this before, but I'll say it again. The goal here is to have our students be in a place where no matter their pathway, their professional outcome, they see themselves as creators of technology, of creators of online spaces and the world around them, not just consumers of the things that other people make for them. So this is positioning your students in a place where they see themselves as the ones that are creating and designing and developing technologies. So I'd love to take a moment to check out what students have designed and created with Wix. If there's any questions, I've got the chat open as well, but this is maybe to help you kind of think about how you might use these ideas in your classroom spaces. Yes. Oh, Carol has a quick question on the beta. So sorry, I should have said that. Right now we are in beta mode, which basically means that we're doing a little bit more of a closed situation. So you have to apply to be part of it. I'm on the other end of that. So I'm a friendly face. We basically just want to make sure that you're teaching students that are 13 plus, that you are in US and Canada, and that we get to know you more. The beta version of Wix looks pretty much exactly like the version that we'll launch next year. There's just a few things with getting students set up that we're going to implement. So if you join us now, it's a really incredible time to get to know the platform, to give us your ideas for how to improve it and make it better. And Carol's asking, what's the reason for 13 plus? I should have covered all of this in the beginning. We are FERPA certified. So we work with that basically our version of Wix is designed to keep student data and privacy safe, and that limits us to that 13 plus age range. So that's a legal requirement. That's just part of the thing. Okay, but if you would like to apply, please go ahead, and I'll give you more information about that in a sec. So students can create personal portfolios for artwork and projects. These are two students that I worked with directly to make their portfolios that did really incredible work. Students are creating sites about causes that they care about. This top site a student created because she wanted more of her female identifying friends to know what resources exist in the world to learn about coding and learn more about web development. So she created kind of a hub site for her friends to be able to access those ideas. And this student created this really incredible site about football. He was super quiet and then just came alive when he was putting his site together. And then one incredible outcome that we weren't expecting with students creating sites is diving more into the SEL component of it. So we see sites or students using their sites as a form of personal expression to process a feeling or emotion that they're having. So this student was feeling like she wanted something to motivate her when she wasn't feeling, when she was feeling a little bit lost. So she created this really cool coding site, or she coded this cool site where you scroll and it gives you messages as you scroll down into the depths of the ocean. And the message was like, when you get to the bottom, the only way to go is up. So there's this really wonderful SEL component to creating as well. And then this student who created this site decided to not use his own idea and to just use this time to practice something new. So he made a site using a random prompt generator, which gave him to make a space concert. So he made a site about a concert in space and used that as a opportunity to practice his technological fluency, to really get into the design. And so students don't necessarily have to make sites about something that they're working on. They can just make sites to make sites. And so I'd love for you all to take a moment to think about how might you incorporate web creation into your STEAM practices. And again, that's maybe the reason why you're here today in this session with me. So it'd be great to hear a little bit in the chat of how you might incorporate web creation into your learning environment or with your students. Maybe you're thinking that they can create sites for a final project in your classroom. Maybe you're thinking that students can create portfolio sites to document their work. Choice board, that's a great idea. I took a great session yesterday about choice boards, and I was thinking that this would be a really great way to get into that. Oh, cool, great. adding this to a choice board. So maybe when students are finished with an activity or have structured free time, they can go ahead and choose to start diving into web creation. Any other thoughts? Feel free to unmute as well. We're a small group. Or maybe you're just taking a moment to reflect. That's okay too.
Hi, this is Wendy. I just want to say in our district, we have a, it's called Ropes project, and it's done at 4th, 6th, and 8th grade. And I just think this would be a great tool because they often do, they have to present their projects, and they, rather than do something like PowerPoint, like if they developed, so I just think knowing this is a great resource and a tool, is something that more educators should know about. So I'll definitely share it.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that idea. I'm also seeing in the chat student-led conferences. So having students put together resources. Just to double check, I just got like a Zoom alert. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
It should, okay, great. With the words, how might you incorporate web creation? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. It just said Zoom is sharing your application. And I was like, oh, I thought I was sharing. Okay, perfect, great. So I love that idea of students using this as a forum in either conferences or showcases. Gabriella's mentioning the shift to creators instead of consumers, having students talk about things that matter to them. That's huge. So in the course that I taught with Wix Education, we didn't have a like, all students are going to create this. I made it open-ended so students could make sites about anything they wanted. And a lot of students took that as an opportunity to dive deeper into something that was really personally meaningful for them. A lot of sites came up about Black Lives Matter, some social causes, some personal causes. It was really wonderful to see what came out of that open-ended exploration.
Okay, I have a comment.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm from a nonprofit organization, and we focused on aviation. So we're trying to prepare students for careers in aviation.
Very cool.
Training them to become pilots. So it may be a good way of having them express maybe what they're learning or maybe the impact of being in a program like that.
That's super cool. I would love to, I haven't seen a site that's aviation themed yet, but I really love that idea. I really want to learn more about your nonprofit now. I'll connect with you after. Okay, so that, sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me, it's called Shades of Blue. And there's a program that's been set up in California. That's our first one, our first chapter to set up a program.
Cool.
Won that in aviation.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Shades of Blue.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so that brings us to part 3, and we only have 10 minutes left. This is so fast. What does it look like to bring web creation to your classroom? So I'm going to give everyone a really quick demo of Wix Education. Again, we have these 4 courses that I'll go over in a moment. And then each of the courses has 3 components, but I won't get into the weeds too much about this for time's sake. But basically, if you are in a position where you want to have your students be going through a course to learn more about these ideas, each of our course comes with a set of lesson plans, Google slide presentations that are like visual representations of the lesson plans, and then a hands-on activity where students can try out those ideas within Wix that they can then apply to their final project site. And all of our curriculum is standard aligned with ISTE. We have a CS for All alignment for our web development course. And we, as I mentioned, are FERPA certified with iKeepSafe. So this version of Wix, unlike Wix.com, which is built for professionals, is specifically designed to keep student data and privacy safe. So let's head over to the platform, which is going to require me to share a different screen. There we go. Okay. So can everyone see a screen with a yellow bar on top now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
I love the participation here. Okay, so we are now in Wix Education. I mentioned that we're in beta mode, which basically on our side means that we're spending a lot of time getting feedback and ideas from our beta teachers that are using our products. We're tightening everything up before we launch into the world next year. But that doesn't mean that any features are missing. We're just continuing to make it better before we decide to take this off of the logo. So I mentioned that we have 4 courses. This is just a quick view of what our courses look like. So actually, I'll use this one first. So this is our web creation course. All of our courses come with a curriculum guide, a design journal so students can reflect as they're moving through the course. And they're designed to be teacher-led. So all of our courses have lesson plans, a Google Slide presentation, and then an activity. If you are in a position where maybe you don't have capacity to teach a full course, you can always just go up to the templates section of the site and have students just start from there. So this we have templates that are specifically made for students in mind. So they can click on one of these and just start editing and customizing and making it their own. And we also have blank templates so they can start from scratch if they want to engage that way. So there's many different pathways, but I'm going to go back to the courses just to give you another quick overview of what that looks like, and scroll really fast to my favorite lesson. So each course, as I mentioned, is broken down into lessons. Lessons all come with a lesson plan that walks you through the different components of the lesson itself. So this lesson is all about making sites engaging and immersive and just beyond like a digital piece of paper. So we start with like an interactive party scenario where students are having a reflective moment of what it means to be in an engaging experience. Then they look at some examples together. And then they move on to the creating part where they're trying out these ideas in context in an activity. All of our lesson plans have moments to share and reflect, ideas for extending, and then all the standards that we're aligned with as well. Each lesson plan also comes with a Google Slide presentation that's basically the lesson plan, but in visual format. So if you are a visual learner like me, this is a great way to engage. But this is designed for you to show your students in class or to show via Zoom. And basically every component of the lesson plan is here on the Google Slide as well. And then the best part is each lesson comes with some sort of hands-on activity. So we really want students to be learning with their hands and not just listening. So this is the activity that goes along with this lesson. Your site is not a poster. All of our activities are actual Wix sites that were designed with the lesson in mind, with this one thing that's different, this guide on the side that pops out and walks students through the different components of putting their site together. So we'll just take a few minutes to do this activity together. So again, this is a template. I'll hit preview to show you what this template site looks like. So this is a site that when I hit publish, it is live, it's out in the world. It has this cool video background. It has an embedded YouTube video. It has some interesting scroll and hover effects. But I think the most important thing to know is that all of this is customizable. So if I go back to editor, and of course my computer is getting overloaded a little bit slow right now. I'm going to hit mark as done. And then I'm going to go through the rest of the steps. And so at the end of this activity, students all end up with sites that are uniquely their own. So they don't all have a Flamingo site. They have a site about whatever they want. So let's try that out. Our first step is to replace this video background. And so I'm going to follow my steps and change my strip background. And I would love to hear some suggestions from you for what I could use as my video background. So what can we make this site about? And let's make it STEM themed somehow. So I usually go for space. That's my favorite theme, but does anyone else have ideas for what I can search for to make my site about? I'm gonna get, we're not feeling too creative this morning. I'm going to take oh, wait, rainforest. Sorry, I didn't have the chat on. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, let's try rainforest. And if that doesn't work, then I might use jungle, but looks like we have a beautiful video. So I'm in the Wix Media Library right now. So all of these images and videos are free. I don't have to worry about copyright. And so these are things that I can just add directly into my site. Thinking about climate change, amazing. All right, so I'm gonna mark that next step as done. And now stylish flamingo doesn't really make any sense anymore. So let's go ahead and change our title to make it more about this rainforest climate change environmental theme. So any ideas for a title for my template site, which is in this sample movie trailer theme that is aligned with climate change and environmental advocacy?
I met someone yesterday who's here at our STEAM symposium, and I think she works with I'm going to look at her email. I think it's called Tree People.
Oh,
it's so intriguing.
I think that's in LA.
Yeah, Savannah. I just saw
amazing.
an email from her. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know if that's, if, you know,
I
we don't
love
have to
that.
talk about Tree People, but I don't know, maybe it
That's
could
so
be.
funny. I'm from LA. I used to visit Tree People when I was younger. That's a
Oh,
really
cool.
interesting connection. I love that.
I think it's super intriguing. Anyway.
No, that's amazing. So in our crowdsourced website, we've got some Tree People ideas. Carol mentioned Before It's Gone, which is a very compelling title for this movie trailer. So let's hit preview and see what our sample co-created site looks like so far. Okay, so, I'm already into it. So we're already moving through something that feels more like us, going away from the flamingo. One of the things that is so amazing about creativity is that when students are creating things that are personally meaningful for them, they're more engaged in moving through that experience. So the moment that you invite students to create something about something that they're already really passionate about, I find that they're like really interested in making all the components of that aligned with their vision. So for time's sake, I'm going to stop doing this activity because we only have 3 more minutes left. But hopefully you got a little sense of how that works. Just super quick, the last thing I want to mention about Wix Education itself is that it's also a classroom management platform. So the way this works is that you invite your students to join an account. Their accounts get nested under yours. And then you can see all the sites that they create. So you can view their sites, edit them, unpublish and delete if you'd like. I'm getting a note that we're ending soon, but I really want to answer Devin's question. Yes, so very quickly, if I go back to that web creation course, there is this strange bug that gives me something weird when I click that thing. There is a site on or a lesson on accessibility that walks students through things like alt text, color contrast, making sure that their heading structure is aligned, and how to turn on the different Wix accessibility components. We have a really incredible team that's thinking deeply about that. So yes, there is a lesson for that. Okay, so I'm going to do a new share, go back to my presentation here in the 1 minute we have remaining. So I'm going to split some slides. I'm going to skip our goals. Hopefully our goals came across here, but the ultimate one is to nurture creativity with technology. A few quick takeaways. We would love for you to join us and sign up to the beta. Everything is free, so there's no cost to signing up. There's no cost to joining or using this new classroom. And you can do that by heading over to wix.com/education, and I will throw that into the chat, wix.com/education. We are free. We're designed for ages 13+. You can contact us with any questions. I'll be in the booth all day too, so if you want any follow-up, you can do that. And I'll just end here. So hopefully we can just end right on time.
We are on time, and thank you so much for such an engaging and interesting session. That was really fun, and I think it was enjoyed by all. You all seem to really get into that, so it was fun.